Hello, welcome to Petrol Media. I'm your host, Terrence, and today we are going to discuss sounds inside of the MPC One Plus or any MPC and the workaround I found to solve some of my issues. So when I decided to go with the MPC One Plus, I was thinking about how can I take advantage of its ability to do what I'm asking it to do and its sampling capability and key group capabilities, because the issue I have is when I produce a lot of music, especially when I get into the flow state, I don't want to have to stop and say, oh, I can only use 8 plugins. Now, the instruments that are available inside of the MPC are great, but in standalone mode, you can only use 8. On the desktop, I can use as many as I want, but standalone, 8. We all know this. So what was my workaround? Before I sold the Phantom X to get the One Plus, I started looking into all the different ways that you can use expansions to your benefit. And I came across a brand that makes the Roland Phantom X expansion pack, and it was practically everything on the Phantom except for like one sound that I really am looking for that's not there. But realistically, I've only used it twice ever, and I don't think I'll ever really use it again. And if I really need it, I can always pull it from one of my old sessions and then put it in the MPC and make it into an actual key group. So either way, I'm not that stressed about that sound. And I'll make a video on that experience a little bit later. But today's focus is not on that brand for expansions. It's actually on another brand for expansion packs. I recently remade a beat from Ryan Leslie using those sounds because they're one of the few manufacturers that I found that make sounds from my favorite analog synthesizer. We all know it's the Andromeda A6. However, I don't have Andromeda A6 money right now. It's a classic. It's one of those machines that everybody's looking for, and the cost for one of those is so high right now that it doesn't make any sense. So I started looking into, can I use something else to make these sounds? I am not sponsored by them. However, after watching that video, they did ask me if I could do a full review on the actual sample packs. And as an exchange for that, they're going to set up a discount code for you guys. So in that sense, I've partnered with them to get you guys 15% off. And that expansion pack manufacturer is called Amazounds. Amazounds.com is a site that has expansion packs for Contact, the MPC, and a few other samplers. And they're really good. They're fairly accurate emulations of the originals because they're sampling the sounds out of those keyboards. I've only found 3 expansion pack manufacturers that I truly like, but today we're going to highlight Amazounds. Site-wide, if you go to their website and you put in the code PetrolMedia, you will get 15% off of any expansion pack that they offer. So let's check out the expansion packs. I used for this one 3 of their expansion packs. One was from the Andromeda A6, one is from their Need for Bass, and the other one was a demo that they have because they actually have readily available demos on their website. But what I found is that their samples are really solid and they sound amazing. Hence, I guess, the name Amazounds, I guess. So this is the track that I was working on. So let's turn off the sounds from Amazounds just so you can hear the drums by themselves. So that's the pattern that I created on the first 8 pads. I like having the ability to use more than 8 plugins. And because expansions are not considered plugins, this became the choice. And I'm going to take you through a couple of the sounds that I chose from the Amazound packs. So let's turn these back on. I'm going to turn off my drums so you can hear them together by themselves. This is the sounds from Amazound. And that is it, not even mixed. That's just how they sound. So I'm going to turn everything back on, and we'll go through them one by one. And you'll see why I decided to go with these sounds. If I go to their expansion pack, and I go to the Andromeda, they have a lot of sounds in here. I can't remember the exact number of sounds in here, but it's quite a few, and we can go through a couple of them. They also provide demos. So if you get an expansion pack from anybody, if they don't provide a demo for each of the individual sounds, they're not a good manufacturer of that stuff, and I wouldn't go with that because at least from here, you can have a quick preview of what the sound sounds like before you pick it. So those are just some keys. If I go to hard lead, this is probably going to be a little bit louder. Or let's see, if I go down to some of the regular synths. This is just some of the sounds out of the Andro 6-pack. And then the other one that I used for this beat came from their newest expansion that's called Need for Bass Expansion 1. And the bass in here are just, they're tough. And then they have a demo pack that I used a couple of sounds out of. They give you a couple of different instruments to check out. So this is the other thing that's cool about them is you at least get to check out some of the sounds before you make a final commitment. And you get to keep these. The demos you get to keep anyway. So you have them. Like if I go up here to X series, VZ series, viral bass, Tri series. Going back to the beat, let's check out some of these sounds. And I'm just going to solo them so you can check it out for each individual track. I have all the arrangement information in there already for each track. So let's go through it. So that's X-Ray Textures. Prometheum. This is their bass. The organs. And the Iceman copy pad. So for the bass, I actually put a filter on it. So I'm going to play it without all of that stuff so you can hear it. So that's the sounds that I used to put this track together. The arrangement of this track is heavy. Even though you're only looking at 14 tracks of sounds, I did definitely go in on this a little bit. I do love this view. It gives you a quick way to take a look at everything at a glance. I can't wait for the arrangement view to be on the desktop again. Every day that I work with the MPC 1 Plus makes me feel more confident about the decision to walk away from the workstation scenario. Eventually, at some point, I'll probably consider picking one up again because I do like using some of the older machines, for various different reasons. But with the fact that most of these workstations are using sampled sounds anyway, like with the exception of the sections of them that use virtual synthesizers to generate tones, most of the sounds in most of them are just samples. And the MPC is a great sampler. So for the manufacturers of these expansion packs that take time to create detailed replications of these sounds, I think it's a great option to pick up one of them. Amazound does a great job with their stuff. I love how this came out, and I'm excited because now I get to have access to those sounds from the Andromeda without having the Andromeda. So that's a win-win for me. Check out their site, Amazound.com. Use the code PetrolMedia to get 15% off of your next purchase from them. And again, I'm not affiliated with them, but I did partner with them. I told them that I would speak my mind on the stuff. And you guys have been watching me long enough to know that I always speak my mind on stuff. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. So check it out and catch me next time. Like, share, and subscribe. And I think they're giving you guys like 2 weeks with my code. So get on it. Their stuff is affordable.